sure we go in here.
What do we used to do? We used to go.
Here we go. All righty, guys, we are officially underway. This is Bruce Brodeen, and I'm speaking with the guys from Wanderlust here. We got a whole bunch of territory that we want to cover here with an exciting new project that is going to be happening with a band that is legendary in the history and the annals of power pop over the last 25 years. Dear Lord, can you believe it's 25 years, you guys, since the band came together? But what we want to do here is just spend some time with Scott and Rob here and talk about the history of the band, some of their solo projects, but also, most importantly, cover an exciting new project that's happening here on Kickstarter that has a little bit time as you're watching this video right now. And we want to definitely delve into that, find out what's going on with that, because we do have a deadline coming up. And as you listen to this, I hope you spend some time and contemplate supporting this project because, well, I'm going to let the guys talk about that. So I'm going to hand it over to both Rob and Scott. And I would like you guys to talk a little bit about the history of the band, what you've been up to, and this exciting new project. So fill us in, if you would, please.
Phyllis?
Yes, I was just going to say, I wonder if there's a woman named
Nice
Phyllis
one, Rob.
and her last name is in. Ladies and gentlemen,
I didn't know. I thought Scott was the Rodney
motel thing.
Dangerfield of the band.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Rob, what'd you say?
The Phyllis Inn.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Phyllis.
remember I had the name for a hotel called a French motel called the Les Down. Well, we
Well, lay it down, Scott.
the thing that we really we put an ad in the paper to the our young friends was something that was garnered from like forests. So trees are something that has branches are something that used to be connected to the trees.
We used to have to make do with what we had.
Like the girl that didn't have toilet paper.
That's right.
That's one of our jokes, Bruce.
Yeah, I gathered that, and I would imagine anybody listening to this gathered that as well.
I expect a higher clientele from your people. But,
I think you were going to talk about the origin story.
we had an ad in the paper, and it said, "Looking for George Harrison or next best thing." This is all true, by the way. And 10 dudes showed up at different times, and it was like we had this like lumberjack guy. I totally remember. He's like, he looked like he could like punch us with just like one punch, and we all fall down like the Three Stooges. But because it was me, Mark, and Rob at that point, trying to get something going, and so we had all these, like no, but you had to let them in, and it wasn't like now where you could just like look at their MySpace or look at their Facebook stuff and see if they're like a crackpot or see if they don't have the right vibe or whatever. So we didn't have.
Wait, I gotta ask you, did anybody that came that day, including you, I guess, Rob, reference that ad? Because I remember that story I haven't thought about that from over 20 years ago. And I thought that classified ad is one of the classic presentations and framings of like, artists looking for band kind of scenarios. I mean, what a perfect ad.
Yeah, I wish one of us had kept the actual paper. I remember specifically getting that getting the paper, and it was like the last day of that particular run. It was the what was it called again? I don't know.
Was it either the Welcome Mat or
Trading Times or something like that? It was one of those.
Oh yeah! Oh man, remember Trading Times? I love that shit.
That's where you would go. It's like the Craigslist before there was the internet. So you would just buy stuff, gear, musicians looking for this, that, and I remember grabbing that issue, and it was like it was like leftover because they had the new stock. They were ready to switch them all out for the latest issue, and I saw the ad. What was it? Looking for George Harrison. or the next best thing or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
perfect. This is
And
it.
then,
This is what I'm looking for.
I know, it really is amazing. And then, yeah, and I remember, so the doorbell rang, and it was sort of like, you ever see Fabulous Baker Boys, Bruce?
Yeah, but that was back in the theaters when it came out.
They all come for the audition to be the
Yeah.
girl that sings with it, and then they're done for the day. It's the Bridges brothers, Bo and Jeff
Yeah.
Bridges, and they're just like the whole day of like no, and of course Michelle Pfeiffer.
And then Michelle Pfeiffer. Rob, you were Michelle Pfeiffer.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And they're like, I'm sorry, we're done. Of course, in real life, they wouldn't have said, I'm sorry, we're done to Michelle Pfeiffer. Like if they took,
Yeah, that's true.
that's yeah. But so yeah, fucking Rob showed up. He had a Rickenbacker guitar. And
Did you purposely bring the Rickenbacker because it was the George ad, Rob?
No, it's probably my favorite guitar at the time, so that was what I was playing.
And that was the
Although, I mean, that was part of the whole George
Yeah.
Harrison thing, yeah.
And anyway, it was, great from the first second. And the best part was, and I'll always remember this, is he also owned a sitar.
So
Bizarre.
It was.
Although, you know what I'm thinking now, Rob? I wonder if you were actually a guy with a mullet and a carving, and you saw the ad,
It's sad.
traded it in for a Rickenbacker and bought a sitar.
Well, regardless, you walked through the door, Rob, and obviously the dots connected, the skies opened up, and transcendence rained down from the heavens, and the band came together. But it literally came together, but came together very quickly, because wasn't it in a matter of about 6-8 months or so that you had a record deal?
What do we like to say? We were, we lived like the lifetime of the Beatles in 8 months or something.
Really?
We went from Let It Be to a skiffle band. We went backwards.
Yeah, we went backwards. Yeah, which was also, remember we were going to mix up stuff. We want to make a Beatle movie where it's the lovable mop tops on the rooftop, and then also you'd have them as the, doing the She Loves You session, but George would already be at that point, play whatever it is you want me to play. We're gonna flip. It's going to be called the Backwards Beatles. Well, you know what? No, it wasn't. It was fast once it was, as far as our ascent or whatever. But no, I mean,
we all knew that we had something cool, and
but we got together officially like in '93, Rob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Okay, it was
the first gig
93.
I played. It was. I want to say it was in May of '93 or something, or maybe earlier. I don't remember.
And
but
then,
it was a show at Dobbs, I think.
Right, that was our first show. Great, that's a great. And then we got signed to RCA in like November of '94.
Okay, a little over.
Yeah, but we were.
16 months or so.
We were like, I had been, already banging against the door of the music business and writing a million songs, and I just couldn't figure it out. It was when I was green enough or naive enough I believed that you write good songs, good things will come from it. And I was, I was fairly developed as a songwriter by then, because it's kind of all I did. But I just kept, nothing, I would get rejected. I even had a development deal with Atlantic Records, and it's like, I laid my best shit down, and like, that didn't happen. And I was really puzzled. I was like, I don't understand it. And then I was at an A&R guy's office in New York. It was before the Wanderlust thing. And I just remember looking on his wall and seeing all these bands on the wall, I guess that were part of the label or whatever. And I was like, I think it's time. I want to be in a band, because it's really tough.
Oh, really?
It's one thing to fail when you're in a band, but to fail as just your name is really harsh, and I was just Scot Sax or the Scot Sax Band. So if I wasn't succeeding, it was me. And that was a really tough thing. And it's lonely to, you think about David Bowie and Bob Dylan, like those guys have and had some thick skin, because it's all on them. It's their name. So that was the seeds of the idea of like, I want to be in a band, you know? And so that's where that started from. And so once Rob showed up as like, you know, once I like started to kind of form a band, and, you know, the Wanderlust thing was starting to crown. Rob showed up, and it was like the missing piece. And I was like, this is it. And so I didn't, you know, dilly-dally, as they say. I was like, okay, let's put pedal to the metal, because it's almost like a woman, you know, that's like 39 years old, you know? I was like already in like my late 20s, and I'm like, I don't have much time, so we just better start getting on it right now.
Yeah, well, you know, the music business back in those days still was very, very much youth driven.
Yeah.
And who was your A&R guy at RCA that signed you?
That was Pete Robinson
And Dave.
Oh yeah, Dave Novak.
Dave Novak like discovered us, and then he signed the Macarena guys. So he really did, and he got a little busy. So then Pete took us on. So
yeah,
Pete
yeah.
And so were they fairly instrumental in terms of the recording process, and in a helpful or intrusive way, or do you pretty much give a rein?
I don't really recall them having anything to do with it.
Yeah,
I mean, really creatively, it was more like, please leave us alone.
and they did.
They did for the most part. I mean, they would come down from New York. We were in Philly, so they come down from New York and sit in on sessions. Not even Dave, just Peter. He would come down.
Yeah.
But so he might say this, that, but he knew that we knew what we wanted to do, and then that was the way it was going to be. I think, Scott. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I mean, the best part of the story is, and I'll tell the real abbreviated version just because.
Yes, please, Scott.
Well, we had 4 songs already recorded and mixed when we got signed to RCA, and those were I Walked. Oh, I'm frozen, aren't I?
You're frozen. You're in it.
Oh, I'm really. What can it ever freeze on?
Just roll with it. It will come back.
Did it ever freeze on an attractive shot? There we go.
There you go.
I'm gonna stay like this. I feel like that's my best side. So if it freezes, I'll be like
pensive. Scott.
I Walked, stage name, Sundial, and
was it? Wasn't that it? 4 songs, right?
Did I just wait? Oh, Troubled Man.
Oh man, that's right.
And it was and we had we had a thing where we got like a very awesome person, Ken Pollock, invested $5,000, and because he just was a fan and believer in the band, and we had a deal with a studio called Tongue and Groove, Michael Block and Michael Mismano. And it was $5,000. He said, I'll record you for $5,000. Mike Mismano will produce you, and you get the studio from midnight on Friday night to noon on Sunday, however you want to use that time, which was a little like, you know, I had to figure out a timetable. So, and I remember, you know, and I remember saying, well, what if we're not done by, you know, no, it wasn't noon on Sunday. It was noon. Was it Sunday or Monday?
Yeah, like midnight on Sunday. I don't know what it was. Monday was the cutoff day. Wasn't that it?
Noon on Monday, I think.
You had 3 days.
3 days.
That's
so
it.
I was like, so I said, well, what if we're not done? What if there's like 2 more things that we need to do? And he's like, he smoked these like long, like fancy French cigarettes. And
little like old-fashioned Virginia Slims.
Yeah, it was kind of like a mafiosa feel, which was like, it really was. It was in the house where Oprah Winfrey like filmed this movie, and it's this big, beautiful house. Anyway, he's like, you're shit out of luck. That's what he said to me. I remember it. I will remember it till the day I die. And I just remember, instead of being like, this guy's a dick, I was like, I love this guy. I do. I love limitations. And that was a limitation. And I'm like,
you embraced the throwdown.
Fucking did. I really did.
Yeah.
We left there with 4 songs that are exactly the same as they are on the Prize album. In fact, the mix, we remember, was a Faders Up mix. We didn't even like do stuff or automate or whatever. It's all Analog and Left Up.
Pause a second. So the song that you recorded from those sessions is the version that ended up on Prize?
Yeah.
All
Wow.
the whole 4 songs are the same exact
Yeah,
version.
with just
We were
obviously some
like,
remixing and no overdubs?
we didn't remix them.
No, we had like overdubs vocally and the guitar leads, and that's it. But the core of it was just the band. Yeah.
So we didn't add anything after we got signed to those. Those mixes are the mixes on the album.
They are. I think we added like one guitar at the end of Stage Name, that one last crash.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. But that's it. There was nothing else. It was
Nancy Falco sang a harmony on that one.
Oh, right.
So did the label key up on I Walked Right Away? And they're saying, okay, there's the song we lead with.
That got us signed, yeah, for sure.
That was that okay, out of it.
But
I had a funny feeling because that song, I was my wife and I had left Los Angeles and we were it started up Not Lame when we were living up in Aspen, and we had just, I remember we moved down to Denver in '95, and that song was just played all over AAA radio.
We had a lot of play in Denver.
Yeah, you did. You couldn't get away from it. It was definitely, KBCO had that in high rotation. And as did the other mountain community radio stations, and rightfully so. It always seemed that song just had, besides the song itself having a very slow build, it was one of those things where that song seemed to be building nationally, and then all of a sudden it was gone. Like did the label really nationally push that song? Was it getting airplay in other markets like it was here in the mountain areas?
Oh yeah, no, it was the #1 requested song like on stations around the country. They didn't do anything with it on the West Coast. I know that, but I don't know, Rob. What do you remember? I was in such a like shock of like, hello, we're. I mean,
it was the perfect AAA. Modern rock song. It had all the elements, the archetypal elements of that era in spades. It was the perfect anthem. This is where you go, Bruce, that's really interesting. I really agree with that.
No, this is where I play the sad music and it all turns to black and white. And then the band on Hard Times.
You guys froze up on me, so I kind of missed some of what.
Oh, okay. Well, you missed a failed stab at humor, Rob. Don't worry about it. There was nothing you missed whatsoever.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, it was time to make a video for the song. We were selling like 2,500 CDs a week at that point. That was like, we were peaking at sales. And that's like, now that'd be, you'd be a superstar if you could sell that many. So we were selling that amount a week, and we were getting national airplay. And when you heard it, and that was all around the country except for the West Coast, because apparently that's not important. And they were about to make a video for it, which would have been like, okay, we're there, and like kaboom. And when we were signed to the label, there was not a president of RCA Records in the United States, in New York or whatever. And they hired Jack Rovner. No, they hired, who was the president?
Bob
Jameson?
Yeah, Bob Jameson.
They hired Bob Jameson.
Yep.
And Jack Rovner as the general manager. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, honestly, I think like, Jack Rovner was like, I don't think I'm not going to, rag on him or anything, because it's like, what's the point? I think, coming from his side of it, he didn't have a feel for the band necessarily. He didn't discover us. It wasn't in his bloodstream. He just saw what we were doing, and he saw what Dave Matthews was doing, he was signed right before us or right after us. So he was like, well, I don't want to spend any more money on these guys on this album and make a video. Let's renew their contract for their second album, and we'll just spend it then. So that little, probably 12 seconds of decision making sent us into a tailspin. And
you were on the road there for a bit too. You toured behind that, because you did come. I mean, I saw you at the Fox Theater in Boulder.
Collective Soul. We toured with Collective Soul, which was amazing. Ed Roland was like our hero. I wish he was the president of the label. We should have had him sign us to like his own label, huh, Rob?
Yeah, no.
Like in retrospect, like he would have been like, "I'll take you on." So yeah, I mean, he got us in front of 3,000 people a night. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, he did, and it was because he liked the band. That's it.
Right.
And then you had some shows with the Who, if I recall correctly.
We had a show with the Who. Yeah, we opened. Okay, so this was 96, 97, early 97.
Background music, Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
And here we were. The phone rings. Scott picks up the phone. Premier Talent is on the line. Ocean Color Scene, the latest new, the latest British fad band to open up for the Who on their first ever Quadrophenia US tour. Couldn't clear customs, and they needed a band to fill in for that opening slot, for that opening show of the opening night of Quadrophenia. And who was available but Wanderlust.
And you made $1,250.
Oh, I don't know. Did we make money? I don't remember.
Five?
We made five.
Okay.
$500.
Oh, 500.
Oh, 500. So I wasn't too far off. I mean, I'm familiar with some of those opening slots for the superstar bands.
Bands up for arguments. They're like, wait, 4 guys in the band.
Yeah.
They couldn't give us 4. They just make it 4. Yeah, man. We opened for the Who at fucking at the
US Air Arena.
US Air
Arena. $125 each.
Baltimore, Maryland.
Dude, I didn't.
Yeah, I don't remember what kind of.
Our mind was money. That was amazing. We went back to the hotel with John Entwistle, hanging in the car, Zach Starkey on drums, fucking Daltrey's microphone at my feet while we were playing. That was a fucking good night. A great night. All on video.
Yeah, we have all the proof.
I don't mean to pat myself on the back or too much.
Well, you came down from the mountain in the burning bush of rock and roll mythology, and you hit the ground face first because they optioned the second record, and you recorded demos for it, and they turned them down. They said, "No bueno."
Demos. We were in the studio making the record.
Okay, you turned the record in.
We turned. I mean, I think we turned a couple of versions of that record in.
Okay.
It was,
Yep.
So what went on with that? Because then you kind of you landed in my world around 1997 sometime, where we ended up releasing those, 9 of those songs.
You know what, man? I think it was
on Not Lane.
That's right.
Music had nothing to do with it. It really didn't. It had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
We didn't like each other.
There was a lot. I mean, we had just come off the road, and I mean, so from the beginning until we got signed, those 12 months or 14 months, it was just like a lifetime packed into that time, and we were really, I mean, it was just uphill from there at that point. So we were constantly in a headspace of climbing that hill and getting, whatever we achieving the goals that we want to achieve, and just being with each other constantly. So we didn't take a second off when we got off the road the first time with Collective Soul. We went straight back to the studio and started working on the new record, the second record. We didn't have a time to breathe, so there was a lot of shit going down with the record label, and fingers were pointing in all directions, and just things were just a mess.
Yeah, and we didn't, and I don't mean we didn't like the band didn't like each other. I mean, we were hanging in there, it was cool, but we didn't really, we never really connected with Jack Rovner, and he was kind of like Mike Pence. Like we went from a, so everybody stop. I'm just saying, it was like, we were trying to get
comment.
Yeah, I got you. It just was a little, let's just say that it was the sort of demeanor I got, from, it was sort of like, yeah, we got the da-da-da. And I was like.
The dude did not rock.
No. No. So, so, and we just, there was no vibe, and then our man and just everything, you know what the thing is, man? The 4 of us liked each other, and the 4 of us, we like each other now. We liked each other then. We were going through growing, it was growing pains in every category. of that, you know, from, you know, career stuff and money stuff and relationships and just everything. That said, we still, you know, the four of us liked each other, and it was a great thing. But the more success that we got, relatively speaking, the more people come into the fold. And it happened so fast that you wind up kind of like hiring people. You don't even have time to think about it. So all of a sudden we had a lawyer and accountants and managers and label. There's a new, you know, the new guys at the label. We don't know them.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, at the Wanderlust, which was four guys just being like, you know, that's all we were and that's all we loved, become, we were making no music. We weren't on the road at this point now because they wanted us to, they didn't want to pay for tour support. So they, which again, I'm not, I get it, you know.
Well,
so
you became Wanderlust DBA, you know,
Yeah.
doing business as
Yeah.
it sucked.
chaos.
We couldn't
You
even
know,
like,
and more than you were capable of sort of processing and dealing with. But you know, the one thing that about the band that I've noticed, because you know, I go back with my first experiences seeing you in 1995, and then connecting with you in a more formal label kind of manner, passing through sort of a soft landing spot for a brief time in 1997, I think it was. That you guys have just always have a deep, abiding friendship that has been consistent throughout, and a chemistry. And one of the things that I love listening to dozens and dozens of unreleased songs and demos over the years is that you had this way of you loved recording live in the studio, it seemed like. And just letting the band's energy and the alchemy that came together when you would be together and just hit record. And there was just always a really visceral, organic energy that you captured consistently on tape that I think is, while it's not unique, I think it's really kind of a traditional kind of trademark stamp that you guys have as four guys in a band.
Yeah, it's what I mean. It's the hallmark that makes just another band versus a really good band versus, you know, a great band. It's that chemistry and the way it translates and the way we, you know, vibe off each other.
And it's
the one song that typifies that for me, which is my favorite Wanderlust song, which will probably surprise you, is World's Biggest Fan. Is my favorite Wanderlust song because it captures exactly what I was just talking about. It's like four guys in the studio. Here's the song. You practice it a bit, hit record, and you just let it blow. Yeah. And it's a vicious band arrangement. There's so much energy in that song, and it slow builds, and the guitars are cranked and pushed to 11. But it's just captured perfectly. I think it's one of the great anthems of the band that so few people have heard still to this day. It's one of my favorite songs.
That was on
Not Lame released 120 CDs or so in its day. If I made a top 5 list of songs from the Not Lame Recordings catalog, that song's in the top 5 of my personal favorites. It's that great.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
What was that on? Was that on the?
That was on the self-titled Wanderlust.
The 4 pictures
that we did on Not Lame Limited.
Yeah.
Because you guys were transitioning, you were still trying to get together and trying to find another deal in 97. And it was sort of you had this material. It was kind of a soft landing spot. No contracts, no legal stuff, and you know, but it would allow you to have something out there as you were shopping for a deal, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago, but it was just fabulous material that was on there.
Yeah, I wrote the words to that when we were on tour.
Yeah.
Collective Soul.
It has that yeah, lyrically, it definitely has that theme.
Yeah, I remember having this feeling of like everything right now. It's fun. It's interesting when I think about it.
Well, I'll link it up to the BANDCAMP. Some links that I'll put into this video on YouTube. So if anybody's listening to this, they can go listen to that song directly. But anyway, so that came and went. The band ended in '98 or so, I guess.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
And then I guess we'll sort of fast forward a little bit here, because in 2011, you guys decided to get back together. Yeah. Okay, there's a lot of things that happen in between. There we had Bachelor #1, we had Feel, we had Skies of America, all kinds of things in between, solo records. And in 2011, the band decides to get back together. Right? Yeah. And then you hook up with Art at Art Herman at Zip Records, if I recall correctly.
That's right. Yeah.
So what brought the band back together when you guys were pretty immersed? Rob, you were very busy solo wise around that era. Mm-hmm. Scott, you were always busy too. And I believe Mark had his projects going on in LA as well.
Yeah. And Dignitary.
So what
yeah, what brought... I had a, you know what? It was sort of like Rob and I really had virtually no contact. I mean, we crossed paths a little bit in the LA years when I lived there, but and then I had moved back to Philadelphia area in 2006ish. But I don't know. One morning I woke up and walked over to my upright piano and just started making shit up, and kind of stumbled upon something that I liked. And so I hit record and I was like, that's pretty cool. And I don't know, I just had this thing pop in my head. What I wanted to do was something that I wouldn't have done, I guess, normally, because it'd been so long. But what I think what I wanted to do was like, man, Rob Bonfiglio, fucking kill this thing. So I just was like, you know what? And I sent it to him, and with like a thing saying, hey, if you have any ideas, I was just messing with this, which is great. It's like no I'm not a fan, ironically, with the Zoom. I love conversation, but I was going to say I'm not a fan of, with music, talking to me is a little bit of the opposite. So usually when I have something to say to somebody, I just send them a song, or whether it's my own or a Beatles song, or just, I don't know. That's how I communicate more times than not. And so I sent it to him and said, if you have any ideas. And, it's a vulnerable place to be in, because it could have been like, you know what, bro, what's Jim Carrey say? You ever know that when he goes, you like jazz? You know that line when he says that? He goes, do you like jazz? And the guy goes, yeah, I guess I like jazz. Oh, well, check this one out. So I didn't know if Rob was going to get back to me, with that or whatever. And then a day later, 2 days later, whatever it was, I see an email and I'm like, and I hit it, and it was like just the track. And he fucking wrote words, sang it.
Wow.
Sang a melody over it, put drums on there, and I was like, wow.
So basically, Rob, you said that song kind of sucked and you had to take it over and make it better. Something like that.
Are you
to the stew?
Jerry Springer. Can we throw how about Jerry Springer?
Sally Jesse Raphael going on here. Oh, look out.
Boy, I triggered you.
No, anyway, yeah, no, it was great.
So anyway, but obviously is that your recollection too, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we had, there was an occasional email over the years, once or twice, or here and there, we'd see each other. I remember seeing each other backstage at like the Hollywood Bowl. It's like, there's Scott, there's Robin Gibb, and there's, it's just like, but we weren't really in communication at all. And then, yeah, I do recall.
We had one gig where we crossed paths in LA.
Right.
We were both playing the same night at the Mint. We were backstage at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that for?
It was
Oh,
I don't remember what it was, but Robin Gabe was there. Wilson Phillips. I was doing something with the girls there.
oh,
And then something else. I forget what it was. I forget what the theme was, but
yeah. Oh, that's right. I was headlining at Hollywood Bowl.
that's right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and it was like kind of like time hadn't really passed. I'm not great at explaining.
Well, the great thing about Wanderlust is like from recording for years and years since then, you have to like reinvent the wheel a little bit every time. You don't know how it's going to come out. Not with Wanderlust, but like whether it's on my own or I'm working with other people. And if people come to me, they want me to produce their stuff, like they're not even sure what it is. So you kind of find out as you go, and it could be like fucking hard and frustrating and trial and error and all that stuff. And the thing that's so fucking awesome is that Wanderlust is just a fucking button, and everybody knows exactly what they do, and it's pretty much always been that way. It's like what we do naturally works together. None of us have to put on some kind of affectation to make it work in any way, and that cuts out so much fucking frustration and head scratching and just time. And the proof is that with this new record, as it was with that first sort of reunion record or whatever, that kind of is always like I don't like that phrase that much, but I guess it was. But we didn't have to strain our brains. It's just like, let's do what we do. And this one is exactly the same thing. Like these tracks are just like, oh yeah, that's right. We know what we do.
Yeah, well, that's the perfect touchstone to talk about this new record and the Kickstarter project, which, depending on when you're watching this, is ending soon for the people that are going to be watching this video here initially in February of 2021. But afterwards it will be completed. But here you are again at that point. So how did this all come together, and you decided, collectively that, hey, let's do another record, and let's see where it takes us?
Yeah, how did that come about? I don't really remember how that came about.
On this record?
Yeah,
for this project.
Fucking pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
I like almost everybody else is just like, oh, like, what am I gonna do with myself? So I just started like looking, this is my studio, and there's like a garage part on their thing, and I found actually I'll show you. I found these I found
Scott doesn't know that we can't see his studio as he's getting all this stuff wrong. Your background is blocking your studio.
This is my studio. I found these DAT tapes, and I had a DAT recorder.
God, remember those?
Yeah, I love that thing. I still have it. Doesn't work. Oh, here it is. It's so funny because I've been going through stuff. It doesn't work, but yeah, this is case in point. This really sums up me, fellas. I just reached for my DAT recorder, and this thing is just sticking out of I can't get it out, and it's stuck in, and I believe it says, you know what it says, Rob?
What?
Recording Glenn Mills.
Oh my God.
That's still in there. Like probably from the day we left there. That's another
amazing. Yeah, that's a whole nother hour.
Well, let's stay focused on this project here.
So anyway, I found these DAT tapes, and I found a particular DAT tape that said post second album songs, something like that. No, it must have been post. No, it was really post Prize album songs. And I popped it in, and I was like, whoa, I totally forgot about that song. And what? Then I'll be like, oh yeah, that.
So it literally had been over 20 years since you had heard the material that was on there.
Sitting on a DAT tape, and you see how I treat them. It's a fucking amazing that they exist. So so then I was like, and I remember, so I had laid those songs down with Mike Masmano at Tongue and Groove Studios, where we recorded Prize. It's the good thing about it is it wasn't like a cassette recording. it was me singing into the ribbon mic at RCA and I'm sorry, at Tongue and Groove, an RCA ribbon mic and another whatever they recorded acoustic guitars with, and I sang all these new songs that I had because I'd just gotten signed to Warner Chappell. So I was really nervous. Like, am I supposed to like show them I'm working? You know, I just started to feel like guilty because I didn't know what to do. You know, so I threw all these songs down that I had written. And that was that tape, and I forgot all about it. But the thing is, since it's recorded really well, and I was really on my A game, like I'm like, it wasn't loosey goosey. I kind of nailed that shit. And drums are my first instrument, so when I play, it's like that sort of. I played them as if it was one part of a band almost. I didn't like make it singer songwritery. I kind of like did it like I would with a full band. So when I listened to it, I'm like, huh. So I sent it to the guys and I'm like, call me crazy, but do you think it's possible to like see if like you guys laid your parts down on this, if like it would work? So they fucking Rob added guitar and harmonies, and Jim played drums, and Mark laid his bass down. They sent the tracks back. I lined them up on the computer, and I'm like, son of a bitch, unbelievable. So we did, you know, I don't know, like 5 songs like that, at least. And I think there's a couple more coming. And then that just sort of spurred on our like, want to write some new ones too? So Rob and I have been writing new ones. And it's fucking awesome. I love it. I think it's a killer record. I think that it's, I don't know. I just think it's as good as anything we did. First of all, because the songs were written in that time period, so kind of like that magical thing is going on, and I find it that it's interesting lyrically because it was such a mind storm at that time. There was so much, everything we just talked about, Bruce and Rob, were in those songs because that's when they were written. When we were coming, I believe he said flat on our face. And those songs were written then. And so I think it's a really interesting album. It's very rich.
So what are the plans here in terms of, okay, you're going to have the Kickstarter. We're going to try to get this over its goal here in the next, you know, by the 24th of February, 2021 here. And so what are the plans here after this passes with finishing the recordings, getting them out there? And then if both of you could sort of talk about what's going to be in the packages that are in the Kickstarter campaign and give a little bit more information about them, keeping in mind that I cajoled you, Scott, and then cajoled the rest of the band to do a CD option because that wasn't originally part of it.
I was never going to go, yeah.
So talk about what the plans are for that in particular as well.
I think we have a full live show, unreleased live show that's going to be on this package of
yeah.
What else?
The Sigma Sound. We did a live performance at Sigma Sound.
That was the acoustic performance, right?
Yeah,
that was the acoustic performance.
And that was always just, you know, a fan favorite, never officially released.
Yeah, that's a great recording too. I've heard it. It's spectacular.
It was broadcast, you know, they broadcasted it when it was done, and that was
Live.
it. We got a copy of it on something, and that's going to be on there. And then I'm looking now. So the first of all, if you see me looking over the computer, by the way, I'm not like texting with somebody or whatever. I just got another like huge zip file of like another like 50 songs, Rob, like, or all these things. And one of them is a live performance from like Scranton or something. And it's pretty rocking. So I just got, so more live recordings, but also on this are the demos for, I'm trying to find all the demos for all the songs on Prize, which I think would be super
I guess
cool.
Needless to say, I guess for the sake of this video on where we are time-wise, the package that will be, you know, put together is going to be amazing, filled with unreleased stuff and B-sides and demos, quality live material. Because I've heard a lot of Scott, you've sent me quite a bit of the songs here, and I can speak to the high quality of them that I've heard. So anybody contemplating wanting to support this project, support the band with bringing this home over the finish line here, rest assured that the band is going to take care of you, because this is some top shelf material that's going to be inside the packages with this campaign.
And the 3 CD thing is, I'm gonna, Rob, I didn't even like, we've just been so busy with stuff, but what I'm gonna do with that is I kind of have sort of like figured I'm not doing CD things anymore. But Bruce, you make a good point, and there were more than a few people that said no CDs, what? So it makes sense. But what I'm gonna do is, and I think all of us are gonna put in stuff with it. It's gonna be like a book with CDs in it, and it's gonna have like all kinds of, you know, Rob, we used to talk about, remember the back of the AC/DC album, High Voltage, with the notes from the parents?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
I got that. I got that record when it first came out, when nobody knew who AC/DC was. I still have it for 49 cents at Nuggets in Boston.
That record's so it's gonna have a lot of fun stuff to like sit and look at. It's gonna have lyrics. It's gonna have drawings. I'm gonna like do some of my stuff, and then I want each guy to put like maybe a picture of you guys when you're like 14 with your first instrument and all that stuff, and fun, maybe like a fucking stories, just fun. That'll be the 3 CD bundle. And it's like, when that shows up in the mail, I just, you know, I think I think the 3 of us right now, you guys, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our goal in life is just to do something, hand it to somebody, and them go, fucking A, man, right on. that's kind of our kind of a big part of the goal. I mean, children too, and having, you know, love, whatever. But back to the important stuff. And so the other thing about this package thing is, so that's the 3 CD thing. There's also going to be like signed stuff and lyrics, original lyric sheets and flyers from the olden days. But the thing that I'm particularly excited about is finally, or should I say, finally.
Finally.
Oh, you've got me. You've got me now.
I really do want to open a record store called All Sales Are Vinyl.
We have a store in Fort Collins, Colorado, called exactly that. Sorry.
You guys are always on the cutting edge.
Oh, yes, we are here in Northern Colorado.
We've never been on vinyl, and like Prize is all analog recorded. But anyway, I can't get the tapes because RCA has them.
Yeah, I think that I am so glad the vinyl really is it's just such a wonderful trend that's been going on for years, and that's going to be continuing unabated for a while here still. I'm working with a not lame band, the Shazam, with doing an archival project for one of their records, Godspeed the Shazam, into a 2 LP kind of legacy piece like this. And I think having this Wanderlust project like this on vinyl really makes it, you know, something special for fans, and hopefully some new ones too as well, to be able to pull off and just enjoy that experience and warmth that comes from.
Kind of makes the most sense in a way vinyl does, because I mean, they're awesome and it's going to be great, but like a CD, we already have digital. These are our CDs. The computers are the CDs. What's great about the CD thing is that I think the booklet especially, and having something, the vinyl is going to be the thing that lasts longest. That's my real shot, by the way. Yeah, I'm really feeling this point I'm making. So now vinyl is in Nashville. I live in Nashville, and I don't know what it's like in LA, Rob, and all that stuff, but like everybody has a record player in my neighborhood. That is like a refrigerator here. Vinyl is huge, and almost everybody that puts out music gets it on vinyl, which is really not the easiest thing. But and I think we're going to. There's an amazing the thing that does the lave or all that stuff.
Yes.
The acetate. There's a place called Welcome to. Bruce has a funny thing to say. I can tell.
Welcome. You should get somebody if you can be there when they lave it. You know, go there and shoot some video when they do that.
Defo, I'm gonna have a courtroom artist too, where out of me going, you know, no, you don't cut it like that.
You have you actually, speaking of sort of somewhat here with the mastering process, you have an outstanding person that's going to be mastering this for vinyl.
I kind of do, yeah. talking to Ray Kennedy.
Okay.
And he did, I mean, look his name up. He made the Car Wheels on a Gravel Road album and all that stuff, and produces stuff, but his mastering is especially for vinyl is like hard. I did do a little bit of a video thing I recorded an album called Drawing from Memory, and I did the whole album in my studio, which was about as professional as that right there, if that can. And that should be the cover of our album.
Oh God.
But you know what, man? We'll make it like a spaceship, like on the Boston album. We'll make it like a wide angle lens.
Exactly.
Landing down, Wanderlust. But I made this album in my place, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna record everything here, but like I'll put the money into the other part, So it was Ray Kennedy doing the mastering and mixing it at this studio here. So that's with the Kickstarter thing. The money we're raising is going towards mastering, and it's going towards putting all this together, and hopefully whatever else,
Yeah. So the end result is going to just be. I wasn't going to say product there, guys. The end result is going to be absolutely stellar.
And Cliff Hillis is mixing the album. I forgot to.
Yes.
He's a Not Lame guy, yeah.
Yes, he is. Starbelly did 2 records with Starbelly, and Cliff's first solo record as well.
Yeah, he's
was
great.
On Not Lame.
His record sound.
Which I pulled that one out recently and was listening to it, and man, it's just like Cliff just is really, really good songwriter. He just is.
Yeah, it sounds.
I just so enjoy, his everything that he's done.
He's like the 5th Luster in a way.
Oh, is he really?
I mean, just as far as like knowing exactly. I mean, he's just the perfect guy to mix this. Fun fact: his wife's last name is Lennon. Yes. Her last maiden name, and her father is named John.
Just saying.
Amazing.
Plus, she's a sweetheart as well.
Yeah, Maud Betty.
Right.
Did you you ever follow Maud Betty, Rob?
No.
His wife's like a vintage.
No, she did. Yeah. She does like vintage things. I think on Facebook. I haven't been on for a while.
It's pretty fun. Yeah. She has a whole thing of like Philadelphia and Boston or the outlying areas of like where to go to see like the last standing diner and all that.
Oh, that's right. I've seen that work that she. Oh, yeah. I mean, I wish I lived back in the East Coast. I got here in Colorado. I'm sort of in the Netherlands of music business activity. All my old friends, music or otherwise, are all either by you, Rob, or in Nashville or in the Northeast as well. Hey, so let's do this if you don't mind. I'm sort of thrusting this upon you. If you're up for it. I don't know how this will work on Zoom, but let's lean into it and not give a rip and see what happens.
Okay.
You guys got guitars hanging around you there. Play some snippets of some songs, either from the past or from this new record, and just let me just hand it over to you and just what do you want to do?
Rob, I put my microphone. I plugged it into the Pro Tools machine. So if you do that, or just have a room mic or whatever, you could send him the record. You know what I mean? So it sounds.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't have anything set up right now.
Okay.
So.
You got to do the thing with the. It's not the permanent overhead is nice.
I don't. My ring light died.
Oh.
So I can't do that now.
I was thinking you started to look a little tepid.
Little peaked?
That's the word. You lost your pinkish shoe.
Yeah, but not my double chin.
Great.
That's what these goatees are very helpful like this, Rob, aren't they?
Yeah, they hide some stuff that you're in.
That's why, the goatee and the instrument in front of your belly. If you notice, like everybody's instrument starts to get like there. Rob, play something, and then I'll do something, and then.
I think this is going to be on the rec. This is It's called Trick of the Light. Scott and I wrote for this new record. So feet to the fire, temperatures high, just a trick of the light. When you open your eyes, love's a hell of a fight. It's just a trick of the light. That's just a little preview. So
I'll do the next part.
Nice.
Wait, do the next part. It's my favorite part.
Rich was going somewhere very
what
cool.
can I say? And what can I do when you're not with me anymore? I'm flat on my back, a battle for facts. Sorry, you're not with me anymore. Shit. Oh. So on and so forth. Sorry, I haven't really.
That's the first song, and that's I think the first song we wrote since the 2012 album.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can hear that as a Wanderlust song very clearly.
Yeah, that sounds
Excellent.
good. Yeah, we're almost finished that one. So that's some of one of the newer ones, and then
Very good song, George.
George.
Very nicely done.
Oh, thank you. Although you
know what, they-
play, I want what you play. I don't know, whatever pleases you.
No Rickenbacker on that one, though.
They, you know what, they misprinted that ad, by the way. When I said,
Right here.
Right there.
There.
There's always one standing by. Well, you're gonna have to plug that in, man, and do something.
I know.
Come on.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
by the way,
Good.
that ad actually said looking for George Hamilton for the next. By the way, so
Yeah, I'm the one with the George Hamilton tan right now in this video. It looks like.
Looking good.
here I'll do another one from the record, and this is one of the ones that we uncovered, and we were like, oh hell yeah. Wait, what's the first line of this song? Oh yeah. Oh geez, hold on. The velvet blues, the corduroy moon, I can see them in a picture. I can see them in the window. Sliding down the staircase, someone with a scared face screams. Right you see, on and on. I can see her in the future. That's one of the ones.
Yeah.
Corduroy Moon. Oh, you don't have to hold your applause till the end, Bruce, just so you know.
No, I was waiting for Rob to just dial right back in. Your audience of one is
Oh, I got
under enthused.
like back and
Just waiting, anticipating Rob just to rip into that thing he's got in his hands.
whoa, hey. I had a thing that did an applause, by the way, that I was using for a while. It was a foot pedal, and then you heard.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I'll make sure that I clap at the end of anything that happens from here on out.
Yeah, cue the Beatle fan screams.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob, what do you got?
I don't know. What else we got?
How about the riff? How about the wait? Not that we could play together with the latency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh.
Here I am. Engine burning out of control.
Whatever.
Yeah. Can we turn you into a girl? Is there an effect?
Do that.
Turn you into a hot girl. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, these days it can be done if I'm so inclined fairly easily. So
Rob, we'll just try one more thing.
I don't think I look so hot though.
I'll do a little of I Walked as a refresher for the peoples. And so I say, sing your part like a hair too early, and it should land on time.
Actually, the timing of that wasn't so bad. Your audio on the vocals dropped down a little bit, but it was pretty well synced.
We were doing a thing. Rob, let's try to do the blues. See how the blues is a good way to see how much latency there is. Okay. So.
Oh.
Are you ready? No. I'll do the ba-ba-na-bam. You play the lead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just pretend times are tough.
Okay.
Pretend the world doesn't treat you fairly. It's an easy. All right. You just do the lead in between. Okay, here we go. That shows you that Zoom was invented by white people.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard my Suburban White Man's Blues, fellas? I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No,
but
I haven't.
I feel like this
Are we going to hear this?
Yeah.
Or I Walked instead?
Oh.
Oh, I forgot.
Good point. Good. That's some executive producing you just did there.
Not so subtle, but I'm trying to get you back.
I know.
We'll tie this up. Why don't you do a quick, just see where I Walk goes, and then we'll tie it up and hear what you guys are up to right now outside of this project, and we'll say goodbye.
Up in the sky, dripping down on the city, and I'm walking, I'm running, I'm standing still. I turn around and look down on the folks on the hill. I loved you, and I walked until the night was far behind. My eyes. I walked until I forgot what was mine, and I made up my mind. The tables were turning, we sat stone face to face. The waitresses were humming, we gotta get out of this place. Reflection in the window looks like you and I, and someone started humming. It was 1999. I loved you, and I walked until the night was far behind. I walked until the sun looked in my eyes. I walked until I forgot the love's mine. I'm doing the radio edit. Doing the ham radio edit.
There we go. Well, that's a perfect way for us to finish here. But before we do stop, if you could just sort of fill everyone in with what you, all four of you, you're going to have to speak for Jim and Mark as well, what everybody's up to individually in their careers, in their lives, because we have, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fans here that would like to hear what is going on with you. So the floor is yours to speak for the other guys and yourselves.
Well, Jim, Jim has not stopped being a rock and roll drummer. He never really liked the touring thing at all. It kind of just threw him off his comfort zone. So he's been, not long after Wanderlust, he played with a couple of bands in the Philadelphia area, and then he played with Franny Beecher, one of the original Bill Haley and the Comets guys.
Really?
Yeah. Was it the bass player, Rob? Do you remember?
The guitar player, I think.
Yeah, which is kind of amazing. And Jim plays with a band now called, is it just like AM or AM radio?
I have no idea.
AM.
They do like AM cover songs from AM radio, and it's amazing. And so Jim's it's great. It's great bringing him back out into our world, and it's been a really cool thing. And then Mark, Jim has married, kids, all that stuff. And Mark is also married, has 2 girls, just like myself, and Rob.
Yeah, all 3 of us got 2 girls.
And
you have all girls too, Rob?
I got 2 girls, yeah.
I got 2
wow,
girls.
All three of you guys have all girls. Yeah. Wow.
Gonna be an all-female Wanderlust cover band, 20 years.
Yeah.
Wanderbust. It'll just Mark had has had a thing called Indignitaries for a while, and he hasn't done music nearly as much as the rest of the band, actually. Mark is kind of, even though Rob is the George Harrison of the band, I'd have to say Mark is sort of the most kind of spiritual guy. And he's actually just kind of been doing things in that world a little bit. And just being a dad, and keeping one foot in music, but just a person, enjoying it and all that stuff.
Excellent.
He has a new song, actually, he had for the album, so he's gonna have a song of his own on the album, which is awesome.
Excellent.
And Rob?
Just doing, I've recently I'm in the Brian Wilson band. So we tour with Brian. I've sung with the Beach Boys, which is kind of fun. And I also play in Peter Asher's band. I don't know if you know Peter Asher. He's a great.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, Peter Asher.
Wow.
Wilson Phillips, I play with those guys. My latest record is called Trouble Again. That's the vinyl. So.
And look at that on the vinyl.
Vinyl's exciting, people. It's really exciting.
It is.
So, I'm working on a new record as well. So, but in addition to everything we're doing with Wanderlust, the plate's full.
What are the latest plans with the touring with the Peter Asher bands and Wilson Phillips for
with
later
Peter
in the
Asher?
year?
We were doing a number of we were doing two to three cruises.
Okay.
There's these music themed cruises, like there's a 60s cruise and a 70s cruise. And we have been kind of the house band for all these acts, and we were going on 2 and 3 cruises per year, and then everything stopped, of course. Yeah. As far as Brian, we were scheduled to go play Royal Albert Hall and be I've never been to the UK of all places, and that was postponed till next year. So, but God willing, it's
dream to play the Royal Albert Hall. That is one of the most beautiful. Unbelievable. Talk about a cathedral of rock and roll.
I've never been to England.
Yeah.
So.
Well, here's hoping that happens here later in the year.
Yeah.
Wait, Wanderlust never played. We never played in.
You never played Royal Albert Hall.
We played Madrid, Spain, and we played Paris, France, but that was it.
And our biggest, the most amazing friggin' quote we ever got was from the UK.
That's right, the London Times.
Nick, yeah. Wanderlust Prize album is one of the greatest rock records ever made. I remember bringing that to RCA, and it, like, instead of them going, "Oh, we should probably release a record there for you guys," they were just like, "Yeah, get out of my office."
And Scott, you?
Yeah. Oh, well, what ties into like what we were saying? Huh?
The floor is yours. What are you doing? I know what you're doing, but the rest of the people watching don't.
It ties in with all the videoing and recording that I did back in the day with Wanderlust. One of the upsides to the demise of the RCA record deal and all that stuff is it all of a sudden we had a ton of time on our hands, which for anybody that has like kind of brain is not good. So that was a tough time for me. But one thing that was therapeutic for me was I would take walks around Philadelphia with my video camera, and I just like tripped out on filming and videoing and editing, and I always loved that stuff. And but at that time is when like the seeds of that really started. So all these years later, I guess starting around 6 years ago, I jumped full time into filmmaking. I made a couple I made one documentary called Platinum Rush, filmed by a songwriter, and I interview Ed Roland and Lisa Loeb and Ron Sexsmith and Steve Forbert, and it's all about the ups and downs and the navigation of living a life as a singer-songwriter in a band. You know, it really was I think it was my way of processing what I'd been through up till that point. And it was really, it was really good for me mentally. So that's kind of what started it all. And since then I've been making documentaries for musicians, artists, and I did background visuals on stage for Lucinda Williams' 25th anniversary of Car Wheels on a Gravel Road. And I just I have a song on the new Aaron Lee Tasjan album. It's like the opening track called Sunday Women. Aaron Lee is, he's awesome. He's like, I call him a glam Glenn Campbell. He's such a cool dude. Great pop guy out there. And other than that, I've just been releasing nonstop music.
Yeah.
Much all the years too.
Yeah, you both have been very, very busy with your solo careers and sort of never stopped, thankfully. Yeah. Well, we'll tie it all up here, and I just want to remind people, if you are listening to this before February 24th of 2021, that click on the links that are below, but most importantly, in the short term, click on the link here on YouTube to go to the Kickstarter campaign. Because right now it's a little more than halfway there to the goal. So we're trying to spur y'all to action and to take it to the plateau and over to the top. So you are going to be greatly rewarded, richly rewarded with some amazing music from Wanderlust here. And we appreciate your time and your support in everything that we have been talking about here today. So we wish you all Godspeed. Last words, guys.
We thank you too. Bruce, you're like my Mazda RX-7. You know, people laughed a little bit. They thought it was cool, but they laughed a little bit. But you know what? It outlasted all the other cars, all those Jettas and the Rabbits and those all the more impressive. Like, I'm a grown up now. Look at that. And you are, and my Mazda RX-7 is still running, and it's still the coolest thing. And Bruce, you are the Mazda RX-7 of our career, and really like the power pop rock, whatever you want to call it, bands. I mean, you know what? I consider you the fucking beating heart of this genre and of this time in the world, in our lives. And if not for you, I know we would have had, we didn't know what to do after the RCA days, and we still had music, and you were like,
Yeah,
I
you really bridged that, kept it alive.
Yeah, and we held on to a lot of fans. We had tons of fans, and you kept the fires burning, and it only makes sense that you are here again. So,
Well,
really,
I thank you for your very kind words there. Huh? It's funny. I'm out of the music business, but I'm like Al Pacino in The Godfather 3, where it's like every time I think out, they pull me back.
That's how it works. Same with us.
Without the heart attack afterwards, because he had a heart attack after he said that iconic line every time. No, anyway, it's one of the great joys of doing all this, sort of keeping my toes in the music waters, and keeping relationships with old friends like you guys, and old Not Lame in Pop Geek Heaven friends and supporters. Is you're just able to give back. Right now it's like I don't really have any dog in the race here, and it's just fun to be able to spend time and support projects like this, and get the good word out there.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Thank you.
So anyway, make sure you guys go and support this project right now. This is very, very important here. And again, for those who are on the Pop Geek Heaven list, there's going to be some fun and exciting stuff coming to you that the band has put together exclusively for you as well. And so look for that in your email inboxes as well. And everyone take good care out there. Stay safe and Godspeed.
And if you don't put money in for us, we're going to be like this for the rest of our lives. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.